Hey there, friends, and welcome back to another 3-Minute Thoughts. My name is Derek, and for the next 3 minutes, we're going to slow things down, open up a chapter of Scripture, and understand what God is saying and talk about what it means for our real lives. Today, we're in 2 Corinthians chapter 11, and honestly, this chapter is a little bit strange. Paul starts talking about boasting, and if you know Paul at all, you know that's not usually where he wants to go. But he's been pushed into it, almost, it seems, by the Corinthians. There are false apostles in Corinth, people who are impressive, polished, confident, and apparently very good at selling themselves. And the Corinthian church is buying it, lock, stock, and barrel. So Paul basically says, okay, you want to compare resumes? Fine, let's go. And then he gives them one of the strangest resumes you've ever read. He talks about being beaten 5 times, shipwrecked 3, in danger from rivers, robbers, Jews, Gentiles, and false brothers. He talks about sleepless nights, hunger, thirst, cold, and exposure. This is his impressive list. And then he says, if I must boast, I will boast of the things that show my weakness. Now think about that for a minute. Paul has just been given the opportunity to prove that he's legitimate, that he's powerful, smart, credentialed. And instead of listing any of his accomplishments, he lists his sufferings. That's almost the exact opposite of how we normally think. If we're trying to convince someone that we're successful, we tell them what we've accomplished. We talk about the people we've influenced and the things we've built or the places we've been, the problems we've solved. We don't usually say, let me tell you about all the times I failed, all the things I did wrong, and all the places where I wasn't strong enough. But that's exactly what Paul does. And I think there's something really important here in what Paul's doing. Paul isn't saying that suffering is automatically good. He's not saying weakness is something we should pursue just so we can have a better testimony. He's saying something a little bit different. He's saying the places where we're weak are often the places where we become most aware that we actually need God. And that's one of the greatest reversals of the gospel. I mean, just look at the Sermon on the Mount. Jesus says, blessed are the poor in spirit, blessed are those who mourn, blessed are those who are persecuted. Doesn't sound like a list of winners to me. Or think about Moses. Some of the deepest work God did in Moses' life happened not when he was standing in Pharaoh's palace, but when he was living in the wilderness. Or even the cross. If you were evaluating the cross by normal human standards, it looked like absolute failure. Jesus was rejected, humiliated, beaten, and killed, and yet the weakness became the place where God's power was revealed most completely. So maybe this gives us a different way to look at our own stories. What are you most tempted to hide? What if you stopped assuming that God has to erase that part of your story before he can use you? Paul doesn't boast because he's proud of his suffering. He boasts because he's learned that weakness doesn't disqualify him, and it doesn't you either. Be well, friends.